What's up guys, Sean here, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you guys 4 knives that I just finished up sharpening for customers. The first 3 all belong to a guy named Scott. I met him over at the Spyderco MILLIE Club. Seems like a really cool guy, and I'm excited for him to get these back in pocket and experience an insanely sharp edge, because these 3 came out insanely sharp. All 3 came out really well as the other handful of knives that I've done so far this year. I've been really happy with my sharpening results lately, and I think I have a really solid progression of stones and stropping materials and abrasives that pretty much works excellent for every single blade steel, whether the company runs it a little bit on the softer side or a little bit on the harder side. As long as it isn't a complete shit heat treat, this progression is going to do you very well. So first I'll start by showing you guys what I'm carrying today, and that is the same knife I've been carrying in pocket and using every single day since I got it. I received this on New Year's Eve 2022, so almost 2 weeks now, and this thing is still going strong. By far the most impressive factory edge I've ever experienced. The factory edge came in ridiculously sharp at like 52 grams on the best test, which is absolutely unheard of. And I used it for the first week. Then I finally decided it was time to make a couple passes on the strop, which is, you know, you don't want to strop your knife after every single thing that you cut, but it is a very good idea to get in the habit of stropping your knife at least once a week if you're using it a lot, especially if you're cutting up a lot of abrasive material like cardboard. You know, at the end of the week, make a couple passes on some basswood with 6 or 3 micron gunny juice, or even 1 micron gunny juice on basswood, and it's going to bring that edge right back. When it comes to leather and kangaroo, it is possible to bring it back. I mean, people have been doing it for a very long time, but you run the risk of rounding your apex and over polishing your edge. There's a much higher chance of that happening, no matter how skilled you are, no matter how perfect you can hold an angle or the perfect pressure, whatever. You know, we're all human and we're all subject to a median of human error. So that's just the way it is. But on basswood, it's pretty safe that you're not going to round your apex because it doesn't have any flex to it or give. And it has very good feedback when you pair it with gunny juice. And so I made a couple passes on the strop and brought this back sharper than it was when I initially got it. So yeah, really been loving this. Awesome knife. And I have something else to show you guys. I came across these scales from Met & Boss. I was not looking for BENCHMADE 940 scales, but I did recently get this Blade HQ exclusive 940 in M4 blade steel, and I actually do like the jade scales that came on it, but I saw these scales and I just had to have them, so I bought them, and they arrived the other day. Just installed them last night or the night before, and wow, this is really sweet. These are titanium and they are laser engraved with his reptilian pattern, so they have a really nice grip to them. And it's not a deep laser engraving, but it's so intricate and so many laser cuts that it almost feels like a really fine file. Like, not to the point where it's gonna irritate your skin or hurt your skin, but it gives you a really nice grip and it feels nice. It's not gonna collect fingerprints. And the beautiful colors you see going on are from heat anodizing. He calls it flaming, and that's one of his options for all his scales and clips. You can get them, you know, plain, stonewash, polished, darkened, or flamed, which his flame stuff, you know, the color pattern is going to vary from piece to piece because he's doing this by hand. So, you know, there's going to be differences in every set, but this set is absolutely beautiful. I love it. Looks really, really good, in my opinion. Feels good. Action's good. Nice and solid. Now, I was not able to get this thing perfectly centered. It is a little bit favoring the show side. I tried just about everything to get it centered, but it's not off center enough that it really drives me crazy. You know, in a lot of cases, I am pretty OCD, but this isn't bad enough to where I really care. And it's not going to cause any issues. It's not rubbing anything. And these scales are awesome. So, yeah. And he did some nice weight relief down inside of these. Let's see here. It's going to be way too bright. Whatever. Just take my word for it. They are milled out. And these scales add a little bit of weight if you have the G10 model, but it's a very welcomed change. The knife wasn't necessarily too light before, but these make it feel a lot more solid and a lot closer to a traditional old school 940, which I really love. So, yep, I'll be carrying this one also. And I just had to grab this one. I've been one to carry it the past couple days, and I keep grabbing my 15V Manix, and there's a bunch of other ones I want to carry, so this one kept getting shoved out. But today I said, you know, screw it, I'll just carry 3 knives, and I grabbed this one too. So this one I actually have put my signature edge on, same exact progression as the edges that you see on the table. And I'm going to give you guys a close-up look at all of these and go over the progression, all the details, all that fun stuff. All right, we'll start off with the progression, okay? So you can go ahead and take a screenshot if you want. The progression right here for the Spyderco ENDELA K390, this is essentially the progression that I've been using on my last 6 edges maybe, and this progression is giving me very excellent results. It's just a hair different than what I've been doing for the past several months. So this guy right here, K390 ENDELA, go ahead and give you guys a close-up view. I reprofiled this to 15 degrees per side. Sharpened all the way to the ricasso. So no longer has that little unsharpened part. Like, here's a factory edge. See down at the heel, right before the ricasso, there's a small unsharpened portion. Some people will add a little sharpening choil there. I personally am not a fan of sharpening choils because I find that I oftentimes run into that choil when I'm cutting and get caught up, and it's annoying as shit. And when it comes to Spydercos, with them having that ricasso, if you sharpen the edge all the way to the ricasso like that, the ricasso acts essentially as a stop that the material can slide against and keeps you locked into the cutting path of that blade. So it serves several benefits to actually make the effort to sharpen it all the way to the ricasso. Not to mention, it also looks better in my opinion. I think a lot of people are intimidated to do it. They don't want to scratch up the ricasso and all, but I found that there's really not too much to be intimidated by about it. I've done it, you know, over 100 times, and I have not regretted one single time. So really love how these edges turned out. A common theme with the Seiki City Japan Spydercos is uneven bevels. A lot of times you'll see the show side will have a much lower angle, which gives you a larger bevel. So a larger edge bevel on the show side, and then you will have a higher angle, which gives you a smaller bevel on the clip side. But in my initial reprofiling, I got that all sorted out, evened out, and that's what you're gonna want to do if you have anything about the profile of the edge that you want to adjust or change. You're gonna wanna get that all straightened out completely with your first stone. Otherwise, you're going to be working against yourself. You're gonna end up backtracking, or you're just not going to, you know, you're either not going to get it all evened out, or you are gonna spend an eternity doing the sharpening, or it just doesn't make sense. You wanna get the profile completely to your liking, exactly the way you want it on the first stone, and then you move on from there. And also with the first stone, you want to get that scratch pattern going exactly how you're going to want it at the end. So you want to keep that scratch pattern nice and consistent and uniform throughout your entire sharpening process. And it's okay if it, you know, you change directions or whatever while you're on a stone, as long as it's all nice and consistent and uniform before you move on to the next stone. So anyways, for the stones, I've been using the Venive F100, F240, and F400. That is, you know, my main go-to. They're the 100% diamond concentration, and occasionally I'll start with the Venive F80 if I have some, you know, serious reprofiling on a thicker blade that I have to remove a lot of material. I'll start off with the F80, and then After the F400, I freehand strap. I do not strap on the KME. So I take it off the clamp and I freehand strap on basswood with 12 micron gunny juice and 9 micron gunny juice. I have a nice thick wide piece of basswood, and it's like that wide, that long. One side is for 12 micron, the other side is for 9 micron. And I'll make, maybe 10 passes per side on each, possibly less. And then this is the new part of the progression. I'm then moving on to 6 micron and 3 micron gunny juice on KANGAROO. That I actually have right in front of me. That is this guy right here. It's a Sydney Spyderco KANGAROO paddle strap. This side is 6 micron. This side is 3 micron. This is one of the straps that Mike Kent from River's Edge Cutlery sent me to test out and analyze for him. And I've been using that for several months now, and it's been holding up really well. And for a long time now, I've been preaching basswood, basswood, basswood. Don't use leather. Basswood gives you the best results. And there's, I honestly didn't really see much of a benefit at all from leather until recently, actually, that I've actually been giving it another go with some leather. I mean, I've strapped on leather a million times over the years. I've given it many, many tries. It's just, I think the margin of error is a lot slimmer for what you can get away with compared to when you're using basswood, because of the fact that the leather can form to the knife. But I do the 6 and the 3, just a couple passes per side, very few, because leather always scares me. So, maybe 3 or 4 passes per side per micron. And then I finish it off with this guy right here. This is basswood loaded with 1 micron gunny juice. And you can see from how dark it is, I have used this thing a ton. And no, I do not clean these. I haven't come across any reason to clean these. I actually have a much easier time feeling that I'm at the right angle, and the feedback once this is loaded up with some steel particles, it's not going to hurt you. You just, when you add, every couple uses, I add some fresh gunny juice on, spread it out, and let it dry. Then I'm good for several more uses. Same thing goes for the leather, except when it comes to the leather, if it got to this point where it was loaded with that much, it would probably get to the point where it's very, very difficult to slide your blade across it. So that might be a reason that you would want to actually clean the strap. But, each time that you apply the gunny juice, you're loading this thing up with diamonds and everything. And me being as frugal as I am, I hate the idea of wasting anything or wiping away all the diamonds that are adhered to this, creating a extremely effective abrasive. So, and that's just what I do. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but obviously, my results are pretty damn good, so it can't be hurting me too bad. And then, let's see here. So this progression exactly is what I also did with this 20CV ENDELA. This one is also at 15 degrees per side, which is the angle that I sharpen pretty much all my personal Spydercos at. When it comes to customers, a lot of times I do not go down to 15 degrees per side just because I don't know, their personal use habits. And I know I can get away with a 15 degree per side edge on just about any super steel and not worry about edge stability or toughness, because I don't use my knives to beat on stuff. I don't use my knives to pry. I don't. If I'm cutting up cardboard, I'm always keeping an eye out for staples and stuff like that. If it's a box that has staples, I'm not going to use one of my good knives to break it down. Just little stuff like that. So, I know I can enjoy the benefits of a nice, super low angle, laid back, super slicey edge, and not have to worry about any of the, possible toughness that's lost. And to be honest with you, I found that with most of these steels, the amount of toughness that you lose is negligible compared to the performance that you gain in edge retention and cutting performance. How slicey it is, the ease of initiating your cut, how the amount of resistance as you're passing through material. Pretty much in all aspects, it benefits you to have a lower angle. And also when it comes to edge maintenance, it makes it that much easier to strop it. You can feel that you're at the right angle. Pretty much it's hard to mess up. You have such a large contact patch that it's very clear and distinctive when you're on it versus if you're going too high or you're too low. You can feel it. You can feel that you're holding it at the right angle or the right or wrong angle. Very, very easy. So beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And then this one, I did the same progression, but this one is sharpened at 19 degrees per side. And the reason for that is because this knife is thicker behind the edge than the Spyderco, and also this is a very expensive knife. And if the owner ever wanted to resell this on the secondary market, there's a lot of people that don't want a huge edge bevel for some reason. I guess, some people don't buy these knives to actually use them. Some people don't care about cutting performance. They just want some pocket jewelry. And I mean, you would think if you had some pocket jewelry, you would want an edge looking like this. But I don't know. Some people are just weird. Some people just collect them and want them to, be completely bone stock, factory edge, never cut with. And I guess they suppose that is how you maintain the absolute maximum value. But I've come to find that's not always the case. And I've had knives with my edge on them sell for more than what they would have sold for if the knife did not have my edge on it. So I guess it depends who sharpened it and how the edge looks, how it performs, all that stuff. But this one is in S45VN blade steel, sharpened up really well. No issues. And then last but not least, just did this one last night. This is the Spyderco SHAMAN, Blade HQ exclusive in M4 blade steel. I just sharpened this one up for my buddy Reggie. I did this one at 17 degrees per side, and I used the same exact progression that I did on the other ones. Actually, the only difference with this one, I only did the 6 micron on the KANGAROO. I did not do the 3 micron on the KANGAROO. After the 6 micron on KANGAROO, I went straight to the 1 micron on basswood, because I did not want to over polish this. I found that M4 really doesn't like if you polish it too much. So I had to be careful, because you know, I stand behind my work, and I guarantee, you know, that my edges perform. So anything that could possibly compromise the performance, I am going to mitigate those possibilities, or eliminate. Mitigate or eliminate. I'm not sure if they have the same meaning. I think they do. And I usually mark the clamp location on the blades, and I'll leave the Sharpie at least faint on the blade to where I can see it until I'm completely done my process, you know, completely done stropping. I've tested, best tested, and then cut test with phone book paper, paper towel, see if it whittles hairs, all that good stuff. And once I'm positive that I'm not going to have to go back to the stones or make any changes, you know, or if it did not meet my sharpness standards, you know, essentially off the stones, then it has to go back onto the stones, because I don't want to ever rely on stropping to get them in the ballpark of my sharpness standards. They should be, you know, damn close to that off the stone. And then, you know, after I do the stropping, it should, you know, the sharpness should obviously increase, but you don't want to be relying on the stropping to try to increase that sharpness, or else you'll find yourself over stropping and kind of over polishing, over refining the edge, and you'll end up back on the stones anyway. So that's that. And just for the hell of it, let me grab my my sharpening log. I can tell you what these knives did on the best test. Alrighty. So the M4 Shaman got 43 grams. The small Sabenza scored 57 grams. The 20 CV ENDELA scored a record-breaking 20 grams. That's a new sharpness record for me. The K390 ENDELA scored 39 grams. And then that's some of the other ones I've done recently. So, as you can see, you know, getting pretty consistently sub 50. And, you know, nothing out of the 50s. So, very happy with my, you know, the progressions that I've been using. They've been coming out, you know, really, really good. So, let's see here. I feel like I'm forgetting something. You know, I have a little bit of cutting footage and stuff that I am going to actually put it all together. It's over on my Instagram, so if you want to see little clip compilation of the cutting footage and testing, all that stuff, then go over to my Instagram and check that out. My Instagram is bladesandfades_. So yeah, I was looking for a hair. I don't know if there's any hairs laying around. Not seeing any. And I really got to get going. And the video's getting long, so don't want to make this any longer. I do have to get to work and get these shipped off. But for real, go check out my Instagram. I'm posting a lot of sharpening stuff over there, and you'll also catch some of my barbering stuff. And shout out to Scott. I was actually planning on sending these out to him yesterday, and he allowed me to hang on to them for an extra day so I could do a video and share these results with you guys. So that was very kind of him. Definitely appreciate that, and I'm sure you guys do as well. And I'm super excited for him to get these knives back and to hear what he thinks. You know, I get a lot of satisfaction, a lot of happiness, joy, and excitement out of people's reactions when they experience their knife actually sharp for the first time. You know, some of my sharpening customers have had amazing edges done by other professional sharpeners, so it doesn't have the same wow factor. I mean, that pretty sure I have 100% satisfaction rate, but you know, for my sharpening customers who have not experienced a knife on this this sharpness level before, they're pretty amazed, and that makes me happy, because that's I love being able to share that satisfaction and that experience with others, and you know, keep on spreading just knowing that there's so much more performance that you can get out of these knives. You know, that a knife can cut so much better than it ever will cut right out of the box brand new. And that an edge can be so insanely much sharper than it could possibly be out of the box brand new. And that's something I never knew until I got to this point in my sharpening journey. So pretty cool to experience. And you know, I understand when people ask me sharpening prices and stuff, I think they initially are like, you know, damn, like that sounds like a lot for sharpening. But I can promise you, I put more time into every single knife than any other sharpener out there because of my OCD. I'm a perfectionist, and I put out, you know, many hours into every single knife. I go through a lot of materials that cost a lot of money to me. My sharpening stones are extremely expensive. The Gunny Juice diamond emulsions, test media, all that stuff. And just the amount of time that I put into each one. And then even when it comes to return shipping, I spend extra money out of pocket on tape and, you know, padding for inside the packages and everything to, you know, I basically just, you know, try to go above and beyond to ensure that nothing is going to happen to the knives when they're coming, being sent from me back to the customer, that they arrive exactly the way they were when they left my hands. And you know, I usually throw in some other little goodies and stuff. And you know, when you think about it, we spend all kinds of money in all these little upgrades, right? You know, people spend $30 to $50 just for a little lock cage, or we'll spend $40, $50, $60, even $100 on a set of titanium screws, or we'll spend you know, up to $200 on a set of scales, or you know, 20, 30, 50, 60, 120 on a pocket clip. You know, we're so you know, free, you know, so loose when it comes to spending on that stuff. But the single most important upgrade, the single most beneficial upgrade that you can do for any knife out there is put a insane, professional, precise, well done, proper edge that is done, that's going to be optimal for that knife, optimal for that blade geometry, the steel, optimal for the user, you know, basically a custom fitted edge to your personal needs and desires. That transforms the knife completely. That, you know, when you go from a sharp factory edge to a professional edge, it's night and day difference. It will literally bring, you know, new love and excitement to a knife that you might have gotten bored of. Or, you know, you get a knife and you really love it, but you're just disappointed with how it cuts. Get a proper edge put on it. Because what I charge for sharpening is, you know, less than the majority of anything else that you could buy for your knife. And it is a more beneficial upgrade, and it's going to bring you much more satisfaction than any of those other upgrades. And, you know, a well-done edge lasts a hell of a lot longer than a factory edge. And if you maintain it, you can make it go a really long time. I have knives that, you know, I sharpened over a year ago that are still insanely sharp just by doing, you know, regular maintenance every, you know, so often, every so much use. I'll make a couple passes on STROP, you know, gunny juice on basswood, a couple passes, bring it right back. So believe me, you get your money's worth. And of course, you know, I greatly appreciate the business, but I also, you know, I also am, it's something I'm passionate about, something I love, and I also get satisfaction and joy out of sharing that experience with you guys. So my sharpening books are open. If you're interested in getting some sharpening done, just reach out to me, message me on Instagram, and you know, I'll get back to you as soon as I see it, and we can get the ball rolling. Turnaround time is usually about a week, so I get these things cranked out, and, you know, might change your life. So anyways, that's enough for this one, guys. I gotta get going. Hope you all enjoyed this. Hope you guys got something from it. I love you guys. Jesus loves you. Stay tuned, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.